Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this wonderful webinar regarding the launch of the Evenbreak Career Hive. I am your glorious host, leading you through this cavalcade of awesome today, Adam Pearson. For those of you who don't know me, I am a TV presenter, actor, disability rights campaigner, amateur comedian, and full-time nerd. That is a Superman teddy bear behind me. I think I have made my point. And we are here today on the 10th anniversary of Evenbreak. Happy birthday, go us, to discuss and launch our career hive. So we'll have some videos, some testimonials, and a lot of very interesting interviews. So I, for one, am very excited as to what is going to come out today, and very excited to be involved with this wonderful organization. And I think disability, diversity and inclusion works best when it's a conversation. And I think when you're in the advocacy game, it's very easy to forget that conversations are a two-way street and all relationships need to be mutually beneficial. So I'm very excited to engage everyone in this conversation, make sure everyone gets a voice, and hopefully we can benefit from each other's wisdom and create an employment landscape that's fair, inclusive, separates the idea of disability from the idea of inability, and we can start putting disabled talent in careers rather than just disabled people in jobs. Anyway, I've gone on far too long for that intro. I apologise. We're now going to watch our first video that's going to introduce us to the concept of the Career Hive, and then we'll be straight back with Jane.
So here is the homepage of Evenbreak's Career Hive, and the first thing I'm going to do is look for support. So you can either look at it at the top of the page under I would like to here, or you can scroll down to the bottom of the page where you can click on services and support in your area. Then you need to put in your postcode, and then on the right of the page there are options available to either click for career development, which I've chosen, or finding work. This then brings you to a page where you have lots of different options to choose support services local to you, or if you scroll down, you're able to see support from national services across the country that will also be able to help you as a candidate. So the next thing I'm going to do is look for resources. So you click on the home button and then click on search for resources. Here you have an option of many different things. What I'm going to be looking for is information on CVs, and it will bring you to this page here, which gives you information and resources that our own careers coaches have made. So for example, creating an ATS friendly CV has been created by one of our career coaches. Or you can look at resources to external sources like FutureLearn, for example, which takes you to a different website. There's also the option to look through some how-to videos that are relevant to your search. So the next thing I'm going to do is look for an event available online by going to the homepage and looking at Evenbreak events. There are things like one-to-one coaching drop-in sessions, but also meet the employer events with people like Channel 4 or even Airwave Motorola. What you would do is click on the register for the Airwave event, which will give you an email in your inbox with information on when the event is and how you need to sign up. So the last thing I'm going to do is ask Evenbreak for help, so that I can get support from their careers coaches or more direction. So filling in this form, I would put in my details, and then finally I would also put what I actually need help with, so that the careers concierge can give me more direction on whether careers coaching would be useful for me, or if there's any other things that we can do for the candidates. So that's the main areas of support available on Evenbreak. If you're looking for a job, you're also able to go onto our specialist job board to search for any of the roles available with our employers.
Well, there we go. That was the intro video to the Career Hive, and I am joined now by the genius behind the hive. How are you doing, Jane?
Hi Adam, I'm great, very excited to be here today and launching this amazing service.
So we've just seen the video there, but let's pretend we're on Dragon's Den, and you've got your 30 seconds to pitch it and get everyone behind you. What is the Evenbreak Career Hive?
So it's brand new, as we know. It's a careers support service that's specifically for disabled candidates, so disabled people looking for better or new work. And it has no eligibility criteria. It's run by people with lived experience of disability. And as you've seen the wonderful TT just describe, it has all sorts of online resources. You can signpost to organisations. There are events. We have a job board with lots of jobs on from inclusive employers. So it's really a one-stop shop for disabled people looking for new or better work.
And what was the eureka moment for you that made you realise that the world and the disabled community needed this?
Well, it's one of those weird things. So we've been going, as you say, for 10 years this month. And we started off with, and our core service still is, a job board. So it's a job board where disabled people can go and look for jobs, and it's where inclusive employers can go and look for talented disabled candidates. And that started 10 years ago. And what we realised very quickly into the programme really was that the employers needed support. They wanted to employ, well, some wanted to employ disabled talent, but they didn't really know how to make it inclusive and accessible, how the recruitment process should be tweaked. And so we started offering lots of support to employers as well. And then over those 10 years, increasingly candidates were coming to us and saying, actually, we need support too. You know, there are barriers in the recruitment process, in the whole employment field that we face as disabled people, and we could do with some support in how to navigate around those barriers. And for a long time, we would signpost candidates to other organisations. But increasingly, they were coming back and saying, you know, actually, that particular service looks great, but I'm in the wrong postcode, so I don't qualify. Or I'm on the wrong benefit, so I'm not eligible. Or it's a really great service, but they don't really understand the barriers that I, as an autistic person, for example, might face. So over the years, it became apparent that there was a need for an additional support service to supplement what was already out there, that was accessible, that was run by disabled people itself, so that disabled people would have the same access to career support that worked for them as anybody else in the population does.
And that all sounds great. And however, within diversity circles, I am widely known as that guy. So I'm going to be that guy for just a brief moment. How do we know it offers specifically what disabled people need and isn't just another hollow initiative, so to speak?
Yeah, and there are a lot of those around. So we wanted it to be co-produced right from the start. So we're all disabled at Evenbreak. We only employ disabled people. So we have a whole range of different experiences, lived experiences about what we would need if we were looking for such a service. But we didn't want to just rely on that. So we also had a big focus group of our candidates who were telling us this would be really useful, that's not so useful. And the whole project was funded by Nesta, and they also found disabled people who'd never heard of us, so they had no loyalty to us at all, test the whole process and come back and say, well, this isn't very good, or that's great, do more of that, or I wouldn't bother with that. So it's been co-produced right from the beginning with that accessibility, that lived experience built in to inform the design, and that will continue as long as we go on. We will be continually seeking feedback from candidates about what's working for them, what isn't, are there any gaps that we're not, filling at the moment. And so it's very much designed from a disabled candidate's perspective.
And I think that's really important because often these things are designed by non-disabled people without any input from the disabled community. So to have it built from the ground up by the community it's trying to serve, I think is one of its strongest USPs. What other USPs does it have? If I were a disabled candidate coming to the Career Hive, what could I expect?
Yeah, I think that there are a number of things that make us different. One is probably the main one is that we really have no eligibility criteria. As long as someone considers themselves as disabled and is looking for work, we're there for them, whether that's signposting them to other services or offering those services ourselves. So we don't care where you live, we don't care what impairment you've got, we don't care what benefit you're on. If you're disabled and you're looking for work, we're there for you. And I think the other thing is that as well as being designed with lived experience in mind, it's also delivered by lived experience. So when we set up the Hive, we wanted to find a whole team of careers coaches who were highly professional, highly qualified, highly competent careers professionals, but also had lived experience of disability. Because as you say, it's very easy to assume the barriers that other people go through, but unless you've lived through it, it's really hard to imagine. And also, I think for our candidates, if they know that the person that is delivering the service has that lived experience, it gives us that credibility, that authenticity. There's a kind of almost a sigh of relief. Oh, right, well, you get it then, so that's fine. So that's something else. And then I think another USP for us is that we're not just a career service. What we really are is an organisation that finds roles within organisations who are enlightened enough to want to employ disabled people. So we have a job board that's been established for 10 years with you know, a whole range of inclusive employers, from tiny social enterprises to huge global corporates, who are advertising on Evenbreak because they specifically want to proactively reach out to talented disabled candidates. So it's not just that we get people ready for work, it's also that we have, you know, that access to employers, access to jobs, a way of identifying which of those employers are going to be more likely to be receptive to disabled candidates. So there are all sorts of things. The other thing also that we didn't realise wasn't there, we wanted to have this signposting service so that people could come and, you know, if you're blind and you live in Brighton and there's a service local to you, then that's going to serve them better than we are. So what we wanted to have was a kind of a directory of all of the service organisations that exist that people could search and find. There is nothing like that, we discovered. We thought, well, we'll find one and we'll import it. It doesn't exist. So that makes us different as well. We haven't yet got all the service organisations on there, which is, you know, partly why we're doing this event today. But over time, what we want to do is make sure that any organisation that can offer appropriate service to our candidates, whether that's mainstream employment services on areas that we're not qualified to, or whether it's impairment specific or local services, we want the candidates to have access to whatever they need in order to get the job that's going to be, and not just any job, the job that's right for them. You know, we know that a lot of employment support services are paid by getting people into work. Our business model is very, very different. So for us, it's not about, oh, we'll get anybody into any job regardless of whether it's suitable. What we want to do is get people into a job where they're going to thrive, where they're going to be able to contribute, where they're going to feel valued, where they're going to, you know, enjoy going to work and contributing. So it's not just any job for any person. It's important that we get the right job that someone is going to thrive in.
No, I completely agree. Like I said at the start, we want to go from simply putting disabled people in jobs to putting disabled talent in careers. And that's already happening. We've got some like cracking stories coming up from some amazingly talented disabled people. But here is the big question, Jane. I've been holding back on this one, so strap yourself in. 5 years down the line, what is your dream for the Career Hive?
My dream, I think, not just for the Career Hive, but for disabled people in the UK and globally, is that every disabled person has access to the support they need in order to get the job where they're going to thrive, you know, if they choose and can work. And I suppose my ideal world would be where there's no need for a career hive like Evenbreaks, because every support service would be appropriate and not have eligibility criteria. That's probably not going to happen in my lifetime, but what I hope is that the career hive becomes a place of safety where disabled people looking for work can come and find whatever they need, whether that's direct services that we deliver or whether it's signposting to other organisations that can deliver what we can't.
And it's an amazing thing. I think what's happening is great. I'm completely behind it. As I said at the top, I'm completely honoured to be here meeting some amazing people today. One of whom I believe we're gonna hear from now. So if we could queue up Natasha's video, that'd be awesome. And I'll see you all back here straight afterwards.
Hi, I'm Natasha and I'm a user of Evenbreak. I've always wanted to get into work straight after uni, but as I say, even in terms of university, they tried to supply me with employment support in terms of like careers advice, but it wasn't really tailored to people with disabilities. When you have a disability, a lot of the schemes that are sort of available and open that are obvious are quite patronising, and they're not really geared to helping support you do what you want. It's more rather what you'll fit into.
The Career Hive is basically an online platform and it offers a range of different support services to disabled candidates. They can search on our job board for jobs which are with employers who are keen to attract disabled candidates. We have access to the careers coaches themselves, so people can have one-to-one coaching, which could be anything from a review on their CV perhaps for a particular job they're going for, and then if they get through to interview they might come back, can I do some interview prep?
You can tell they've got connections with organisations who want to employ people with disabilities. So you're already sort of like creating links to other places where there are possibilities. It's just so great to be able to be guided by people that actually know from experience of possibly their own experience, but also experience of guiding other people.
Amazing, absolutely amazing, and we're very fortunate to have a lot of people be willing to partner with us on these kind of initiatives. And one of our partners are the Nesta Rapid Recovery Challenge, who are great. A lot of amazing people who Evenbreak thoroughly enjoy working with and working alongside. One of whom is a lovely individual called Carmel, who is here to tell us all about the Nesta Rapid Recovery Challenge.
Hello, I'm Carmel Edmonds, Programme Manager at Nesta Challenges. Thank you for having me, Evenbreak. I just wanted to say a few words about Evenbreak, their Career Hive, and the Rapid Recovery Challenge, which is the programme that is funding developments and scaling of the Hive. We are thrilled to have Evenbreak as one of the finalist innovators of the Rapid Recovery Challenge. We received 150 applications to the challenge, 14 teams took part in the semi-finalist round, and we now have 6 teams taking part in the finalist round, one of which is Evenbreak. The aim of the Rapid Recovery Challenge is to improve access to jobs and money for those hit hardest by COVID-19, namely those who are in low-paid or insecure work, as well as younger people. Over the next 4 months, our teams are on a mission to scale their innovations to reach 10,000 people and impact their lives by helping them access jobs and money. We are super excited about Evenbreak's Career Hive and the opportunities we hope it will bring to so many disabled job seekers. The Career Hive is an awesome, innovative tool with some great, very practical and useful features which have been receiving really great feedback from end users during testing phase. At Nesta, we're particularly excited about the fusion of technology and human interaction that this tool brings together. Access not only to resources and training, but also to peer networks, as well as an option for career coaching. We think it's super important as well that the Evenbreak team is fully made up of people who have lived experience of disability, and we know that this brings a richness, understanding and compassion to the solution. We are looking forward to seeing Evenbreak taken on by employers and employees across the country. Good luck, Jane, Rachel and the Evenbreak team.
Again, cracking stuff. It was mentioned earlier, but one of the most exciting parts about the Evenbreak Career Hive is the coaching. And we have a very good team of professional coaches, highly qualified amongst a very wide array of sectors in the world of employment who we have access to. And also, more importantly, they also have lived experience of disability. There's an old saying that if you can't see it, you can't achieve it. And very often, when you look at various industries, particularly high up within them, there's very little, almost no, disability representation. And so having access to coaches who can get alongside our candidate and say, I've done this, you can do this too, and give them that little bit of direction and a little bit of input is incredible. I know from first-hand experience that if I hadn't have had a lot of very kind, professional, important people get alongside me and give me that little polite nudge, bit of encouragement, and a massive kick up the jacksie when needed, I wouldn't be half as successful as I am. So I am thrilled that such coaching is a part of the Evenbreak Career Hive. I'm thrilled that lived experience of disability is at the centre of all of it, and I'm very excited now to link to a video where I'm going to introduce you to some of our coaches.
Hello everyone, my name is Rosa.
Hello, my name is Tammy.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm one of Evenbreak Career Coaches.
Hello, I'm Caroline Dove. I'm a leadership development professional and I've worked in the corporate sector and in small organisations as well, helping people thrive through the whole leadership journey.
I work in the third sector, which is charities and community work, but I've also worked in healthcare and also education.
Before becoming a specialist career coach at Evenbreak, I worked in medical recruitment and education for over 10 years.
I have a background in recruitment, business development, and also as a relationship manager in a jobs board, both nationally and internationally.
I really love when I'm working with a candidate and they come to the realisation that they don't need to lower their expectations of what they can achieve. What we need to do is find the right environment for them to flourish in.
The work I'm doing though at Evenbreak is some of the most rewarding, enjoyable and important that I've ever done. I've just been talking to a client who's really upbeat and bubbling about a role after just having the door shut hundreds and hundreds of times. And he told me that the key thing that we talk about is how he can establish kudos and confidence out there in the world of work.
But I have to say I really enjoy my work as a careers coach in helping and supporting candidates to really understand who they are and how to navigate and negotiate the world of work.
I have the very great honour here of helping candidates go from being unsure about what they can do to recognising their talents and knowing what they want before applying that to their job search and application processes.
I think the biggest qualification that I bring really is my lived experience of dyslexia and ADHD. This is the first organisation that I've worked for where I've been able to openly, discuss who I am, all my strengths and talents, but also what I bring with my disability, with my ADHD and my dyslexia, and obviously getting the opportunity to be able to discuss that and seek out accommodations has been really transformational for me. And so that's why I'm doing this work and coaching, and to be able to help others to be at their best and thrive in the world of work.
As somebody that has disability herself, I have MS and visual impairment, I really can connect with people, and I love it when I help people get comfortable about their talent and their positive mandate for change and influence
Like all the employees here at Evenbreak, I'm disabled. I have a chronic pain condition and also mental illness. But I like coaching people with all different impairments because the essence is the same. We're disabled by the barriers out there. So if we can creatively problem solve and find solutions, then that's an obstacle course that I'm really happy to help people go through so they can achieve the success they want.
As a disabled person myself, I have experienced firsthand some of the barriers that our candidates have to face, and helping them to work their way around these barriers, both internal and external, and achieve their goal makes this an extremely rewarding job.
I help people work through the strategies of dealing with the barriers that unfortunately do exist, and we nail it. It's lovely to be working with you all.
As we can see from the stories we've heard, the conversations we've already had, and the videos we've seen, the Evenbreak Career Hive is taking a real 360-degree approach to this issue. However, the best way to resolve this is for us all to work together. And it's something that has pretty much been woven through every single thing we've discussed. If we can all get on the same hymn sheet and work together, we can create a better, fairer employment landscape for disabled people. And to talk more about that, I am now joined by two fantastic people. I am joined by Toby, who is the Hive's concierge, which sounds mighty posh and mighty important. Tell me about the service search.
So Evenbreak offers amazing support to our candidates. However, it's important to understand that there's brilliant provision locally. However, some disabled people aren't eligible. So there's loads of organisations out there throughout the UK that can offer amazing support, even better support than us sometimes. So it's great to direct candidates to them. And also, on the plus side, some local support may have better connections with local employers than we do. So it's great for the candidates in the long-term future.
And how does that transition look exactly? If I came to Evenbreak and didn't meet criteria somewhere, but could be signposted elsewhere, what's the step-by-step process to get me from A to B?
So you'll drop a message onto the email hive where I'll receive you. I'll read the message and see if there is any potential local organisations from the postcode that you give us that could actually really support you. So I could suggest that there might be some local organisations. If not, and if it doesn't work out, then they're more than happy to come back to us and we'll figure out a second plan for them.
Good stuff. And there'll be some people listening to this who maybe in the back of their mind are thinking, this sounds a little bit like espionage. Are they just trying to steal other people's best candidates, like some kind of dodgy football manager? How would you quell those people's concerns?
We are far, from wanting to pinch candidates off organisations. I like to think, we are here as backup for oversubscription ineligible candidates who can't get any support anywhere else.
And if there are organisations here who offer support but aren't yet on part of the Evenbreak ecosystem, how can they become part of the Evenbreak ecosystem?
Well, it's really simple. So all they have to do is drop an email and we'll ask for a brief description of what the service you provide is, their link, their URL and the logo. With this information, we can put it up on the Hive as soon as possible and start signposting candidates straight away to their organisations. Moreover, if the service changes or has any updates, just drop them a message and we can update it straight away. So it's a really simple format.
And away from the format, let's talk practicalities. What sort of resources can people access? What do we have at our disposal?
There's hundreds of articles, resources, services. I could spend all day talking about them, but honestly, just go to the Hive and look for yourself, and there is plenty of information.
And is there anything you can send out to people? Because I'm sure there'll be people watching that are going to be super keen to know more about this, or maybe even partner up and get alongside Evenbreak. So two-pronged question.
Yeah, of course.
How can people get
Yeah, of
more
course.
information from you, and how can they get alongside you?
Great. So we have loads of information we can send out. We've got a great candidate flyer that just summarizes everything that the career has to offer. As well, we have a fact sheet which has tons of information from what we offer and what organizations and services can do to get involved.
Well, I, for one, am very excited to see not only what's going to come out of today and this session, but what's going to happen in the future. I asked this question to Jane at the top, Toby. I'm going to ask it to you as well. What's your dream for the Career Hive?
You know, I think it's very similar to what Jane said, just to have the opportunity for disabled people to be in their dream careers, to feel, you know, to have a stable career and to really enhance through their life with these jobs. So, you know, it gives me great pleasure knowing that I'm just a part of giving them that opportunity.
And I think that's a really good place to wrap this section up on. Toby, thank you very much for talking us through this and engaging in this conversation and being a good bloke, being part of the solution, Toby. And this brings us to the end of what I'd like to call our scheduled programming. And we're now going to throw open for questions from the class. We're going to go open season. Nervous? Me too.
I think while we're waiting for the questions, the thing that we really want to stress in this launch is that we know there's a big hill to climb here. There's a huge disability employment gap between disabled people and non-disabled people, and no one organisation is going to solve that by itself. And we as Evenbreak recognise that we need to work in partnership with so many other people who are doing complementary, different, but equally good things. And what we really want to do is work with those organisations who have the same values and the same aims. We're all trying to do the same thing. We all understand that the world of work isn't fair at the moment. It isn't a level playing field. There are barriers that disabled people face that other people don't face. And until we get to the point where there is zero disability employment gap, we're going to carry on trying to make that happen. And any organisation that would like to have a presence on our Hive so that we can signpost our candidates to you, but also may have candidates that for whatever reason you're not able to support, either because maybe lack of knowledge in their particular disability or they're not eligible for whatever reason. We're certainly not trying to, as Toby said earlier on, pinch anybody's candidates. We're not paid on results, so it makes no difference to us who gets paid if someone gets a job. Our motivation is for disabled people to have access to the jobs where they're going to thrive. If someone else gets paid for that, then that's fine. It doesn't make any difference to us. And also the other thing I just wanted to mention following Carmel's lovely talk earlier on, is that we were set up by Nesta, the funding from the Rapid Recovery Challenge, and that's ongoing for a while. It may be ongoing for longer. Who knows whether we get the next round of funding or not. I hope we do, but even if we don't, this is sustainable. This is a service that we've not just set up because we got some funding and then when the funding runs out, it'll stop. This is something that we are absolutely committed to. And once the funding runs out, we will sustain it with surplus income from the services that we sell employers. We will never, ever charge candidates for the services that we offer because they should be, have access to free career support services that are appropriate for them, just like everybody else. But this is here to stay. And I just wanted to reassure anybody who's listening that this isn't a kind of, oh, well, you've got some funding, but when that runs out, what happens? Obviously, if we get the next round of funding, we'll be able to offer even more services and improve the service even further. But we're here to stay.
I've actually got some questions now, Jane.
Go on then.
Okay, so first of all, I think we may have answered this, but it is, what are your criteria for supporting someone?
Yeah, I mean, Toby, do you want to answer that one?
I mean, we really don't have any criteria, do we? Just send us an email through the Hive and we're more than happy. You know, you could be anywhere in the UK, any age, any disability, you know, we're happy to help.
Yeah, just be disabled and want support is pretty much all we want. We only offer career support, obviously, but there are resources on the Hive for other things that you might find useful, whether it's support outside of careers. It's not something we're qualified in, but we can always signpost you to somewhere else.
And so do we have any electronic leaflets to promote the Hive, please?
Oh, yes.
And we've had a lot of them accessible.
Yeah, we'll be sending them out, won't we, after this event, Toby, to everybody who attended and also actually everybody who didn't attend, so that you can, you know, you'll forget what we've talked about today, but you'll immediately have something that you can hand out to your people you're supporting, or any other support services that you know of that might benefit.
Brilliant. So Linda says, I've looked into for work support for people with mental health issues. What access is there for this?
Toby?
There's loads on mental health in the resource unit on the Hive, and also the career coaches also have experience with mental health. So, you know, they're more than happy to have a conversation with you and have an exploration session, and we can really go from there, really. We're very open.
Our definition of disability is very broad. It's really anybody who faces barriers in the recruitment process or in employment generally. And so, you know, it might be someone who doesn't even use the label disabled for themselves. It might be someone with diabetes or dyslexia or mental health or whatever it might be. But, you know, the legal definition, which we're not really that interested in, will cover a lot more people than will necessarily identify as being disabled. So if someone just feels that they have barriers when they're looking for work that other people don't face, then we're here for you. So we're not going to ask for proof of your disability or a doctor's note or anything like that. If you tell us that you're disabled, you need support, you know, that's all that matters.
Fab. And I think we've got one more. So a gap we are finding in our local area is supported apprenticeships. Do you have many employers offering supported apprenticeships? That's one for you, probably, Jane.
Yeah, we do have some. We have some employers who do supported apprenticeships. We were working with Essex County Council recently who offered some supported apprenticeships. And also there are some really good organisations that do supported internships. I think it's fair to say that most of the candidates we work with, the candidates that we work with directly and who tend to look for jobs on the Evenbreak job board are not necessarily looking for supported employment. We know that there are lots of magnificent candidates out there who will benefit from supported employment, and we have lots of support organisations that we can signpost those candidates to. The candidates that we tend to find come to the Hive and come to the job board tend to be looking for mainstream apprenticeships or internships, graduate programmes, mainstream jobs. So people who've already got maybe work experience but have then become disabled. You know, a lot of our candidates have degrees but then face the barriers that they can't use those degrees in the workplace. So I think, you know, what we can do definitely is signpost candidates who need perhaps a bit more support to those organisations who are really able to support them. But we're a huge advocate of supported internships, supported apprenticeships, because we see not the results not only for the candidate, but even more so for the organisation itself. You know, they might start off doing it thinking, oh, this is a good thing to do. But actually they end up by saying, let's do more of this because we've gained so much from it. So we're a huge advocate of supported employment and supported internships and apprenticeships. But it's probably not, it's probably something we would do more signposting rather than direct support with.
That's fab. I think we're all right. I think we've finished with the questions, but a really lovely comment from Jeanette, who is saying how great it is that they can refer candidates to Evenbreak, which is music to our ears.
Lovely. It's one of those win-win situations, isn't it? You know, we can help you as support organisations, you can help the people you support by signposting them to us. It's kind of, you know, there's no downside to this partnership. It just works for everyone. There's no more questions.
Oh, hang on, I've got some more. I've got more coming in now. It's all got really.
It's all kicking off.
Goodness gracious me! Hang on a minute. I'm just trying to. Oh, some really quite long ones. Right. Actually, we'll do this question first. How do we engage with the employers that we have? Do we find them, or do they find us?
Oh, our employers. Yeah, it's a bit of both. I would have said before COVID that it was very much us finding them, reaching out, talking to employers very much about the benefits of employing disabled people, because we were still coming across organisations that would say, yeah, we do diversity, and then you dig a bit deeper and they just did race and gender. And when I say just, I'm not saying those two things aren't important, they're absolutely vital. But then you'd say, oh, right, okay, and what about disability? And then it was very much a kind of, oh yes, poor things, we really ought to. And, you know, we just interrupt and say, look, it's not about pity, this is about talent that you're not accessing. And it was a bit of a hard slog before COVID. I mean, we had some amazing, you know, very forward-thinking, enlightened companies on board, still do have. But something happened in COVID. I don't know whether it was a combination of Black Lives Matter, about inequalities really being exposed, you know, for what they are, about a recognition that we don't have to work in the way we've always worked, that people can work flexibly, they can work remotely, they don't have to work 9 to 5 full-time, Monday to Friday in an office, that there are other ways of working. And I think there's been a kind of just general, much bigger appetite from companies and businesses who are now recognising that there's a whole wealth of talent out there that maybe they've not been accessing previously. And so now we're finding companies coming to us as well. And, you know, and that's great. And they're coming to us for the right reasons. They're not coming to us now saying, oh, we've got this CSR initiative, or we need a charity to support. They're coming to us because they're saying, you know, we have skill shortages. We recognise that there's a whole wealth of talent that we're just not tapping into. We need your services. And that's actually amazing, because it's changed the whole conversation from one of pity and a charity hire to one of, oh my God, look at all that talent that we're missing out on. And you know, more and more, I think organisations are becoming enlightened now about talent and what it, you know, comes in all shapes and sizes. And I think it won't be long. I hope this isn't a knee-jerk reaction to COVID, but I think it won't be long before those organisations who aren't forward-thinking around the whole diversity and inclusion agenda will be getting left behind, because they won't find the talent, not just disabled talent, but they, you know, generally, people don't want to work for an organisation that's rigid, that's inflexible, that doesn't value people, that doesn't recognise talent. So those companies who aren't kind of getting with the programme really are going to suffer, I think. And then for all of us support organisations that are on this call, that's really good news, because maybe we have to do a little bit less convincing and a little bit more, here's a candidate that would be great for you, you know, and that's where we should be, really. I mean, you know, disabled candidates, we call them premium candidates. You know, we talk at Evenbreak about disabled candidates having the same diversity of skills and qualities and talents as everybody else, but we also have additional skills and talents and qualities that we've had to learn through navigating our way through barriers that might be in front of us. So creative thinking, problem solving, project management, you know, all the things that employers really want in an organisation, we use in our everyday lives just to get through the day. And I think, you know, organisations are now recognising that actually these premium candidates are ones they really need to, you know, to get hold of. And we all know that as support organisations, but it's great that the conversation is not just in our little support organisation bubble, but is actually becoming much more mainstream now. That was a long answer to a short question, sorry.
And no, it's absolutely fine. I'm actually just going to quickly jump in and answer one from Brian about how we are working towards identifying inclusive employers in Scotland. One of the things that Toby and I found when we've been researching organisations is actually Scotland are quite a way ahead, and there's some really great resources on the Hive, Brian, so I'm going to drop you an email later on and signpost you to some of those, because there's quite a few programmes up in Scotland where they are actually pairing with employers to provide the opportunities that we're trying to provide in the Hive. So I think that's it. If I haven't answered, or if I haven't answered your question, I'm really sorry. I will go through them afterwards and just make sure that everybody's had a response. So.
And what we're planning to do is send out a copy of the recording of this video. So I noticed that some weren't getting the sound on the video, so hopefully you will on the recording. If not, we'll send them out separately. And also some information, because we've thrown a lot at you in the last nearly an hour and you won't be able to remember it all. So we'll be sending out some information for you to fertle through. And if you have any questions at all, any comments, you want a conversation with us, Toby's your man. But we've got a whole team of people, so come and talk to us, because what we really want to do is work together so we can get disabled people into the same position as everybody else is when they're looking for work, recognised for what they can do, for their talent, for all the stuff that the great stuff that we bring with us. And thank you, Adam, for being our MC today.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you very much for having me. As I said, completely support this, completely agree with everything that Evenbreak do. We've been aware of each other for many, many years, but it's finally good to become part of the, as I said earlier, Evenbreak ecosystem. And I hope it's the first of many, many opportunities for me.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.
Absolutely.